Egypt is no stranger to hosting mysterious civilizations, some of which appear incredibly advanced despite the skepticism of conventional science. Graham Hancock, in particular, has been a vocal proponent of the idea that these ancient cultures were much more advanced and prosperous than traditionally believed, even though many scientists have resisted this notion. Now a groundbreaking discovery has been made. A city that has been celebrated as one of Egypt's most notable finds of the last century. This discovery promises to shed new light on ancient Egypt and reveal hidden secrets from its past. So what exactly does this discovery reveal about this ancient civilization, and what mysteries does it contain? Let's delve into the details to find out. Graham Hancock, a leading figure in the field of archaeology and history, has made significant contributions to our understanding of ancient civilizations. He has made a compelling argument that a lost civilization thrived about 12,500 years ago, during a period of dramatic post-Ice Age global climate changes. This climate change had profound effects on life across the planet, and the survivors of this tumultuous era spread across the globe, laying the foundation for subsequent human generations. Hancock's theories about these forgotten civilizations have gained widespread attention, so much so that they have been featured in a Netflix series hosted by the archaeologist himself. This 8-part series takes viewers on an extraordinary journey to various exotic locations around the world, including Egypt, Peru, and Indonesia. Along the way, Graham Hancock reveals remains of ancient civilizations, from cities buried in the Egyptian desert to the fascinating site of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. This series establishes a deep connection between the past and the present, showcasing the enduring mysteries of our world's history. The 5th episode of the series, titled Legacy of the Sages, serves as a cornerstone of Graham Hancock's theories on ancient civilizations. It addresses the enigmatic site of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which stands out as significantly older than any other known megalithic structure in the world. This episode highlights many of Hancock's ideas, highlighting the existence of advanced civilizations lost to history, civilizations that appear to have achieved notable advances before their time. Another compelling example of such a civilization is the Harappan civilization, which thrived in the Indus Valley. The Harappans left well-documented evidence of their achievements, including impressive feats such as indoor plumbing and a sophisticated sewage system. They also built large public buildings that resemble meeting rooms or even Senate buildings. Despite these notable advances, the reasons behind civilization's abandonment remain a mystery, illustrating how ancient civilizations often leave us with more questions than answers. While some ancient cities, such as Göbekli Tepe, raise questions about why they were abandoned, others, such as the royal metropolis recently discovered by Egyptologist Zahi Hawass and his team, provide invaluable information about the past. This 3,400-year-old site, located north of modern Luxor, revealed secrets of one of ancient Egypt's most prosperous eras, shedding light on the achievements and sophistication of that civilization. The excavation led to the surprising discovery of an exceptionally well-preserved city, with its walls and rooms in surprisingly good condition, and containing a large number of everyday tools and artifacts. Several distinct neighborhoods have been revealed within the city, including an administrative district, a bakery, and a residential area. This important discovery, hidden beneath the sands of Egypt, was known as the ancient city of Saldathan or the Rise of Aten. Betsy Bryan, a professor of Egyptology at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, United States, has described the discovery of this lost city as the second most important archaeological find since the revelation of Tutankhamun's tomb. She emphasized that the city presents a unique opportunity to gain insights into the daily lives of ancient Egyptians during a period of unparalleled wealth and prosperity. When the empire was at its peak, the excavation produced a trove of valuable archaeological artifacts, including colorful pottery, jewelry, mud bricks with seals of Amenhotep III, scarabs, and scarab amulets. The archaeological team began its excavation on the west bank of Luxor, near the Valley of the Kings, approximately 500 kilometers south of Cairo. Within weeks, they discovered mud brick formations stretching in various directions. Hieroglyphic inscriptions found on wine vessel lids at the site have allowed experts to date the city to the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, who ruled during the 18th dynasty, between 1386 and 1353 BC. The reign of Amenhotep III was characterized by tranquility and prosperity, marking the peak of Egypt's international influence. He is often called Amenhotep the Magnificent or Amenhotep the Great. Towards the end of his reign, Amenhotep III began to share power with his eldest son, who would later be known as Amenhotep IV. After the death of his father, the young Amenhotep embarked on a dramatic transformation of Egypt by abandoning all Egyptian deities except the sun god Aten. He changed his name from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten, which translates as dedicated to Aten. Furthermore, he presided over the emergence of a new artistic movement with his wife Nefertiti, and moved the royal capital of Egypt from Thebes to a new city called Akhetaten, now known as Amarna. In addition to the bakery and administrative section, an area dedicated to the production of mud bricks was discovered during the excavation. Within this area, an intriguing find was made: the skeleton of a cow or bull next to a human skeleton in an unusual posture, with its arms extended along the body and evidence of a rope around its knees. Although ancient Egyptian customs are known to have included various types of sacrifice, including animal offerings, the presence of a human skeleton suggests the possibility of human sacrifice in the city. Additionally, the archaeological team discovered a container containing approximately 2 gallons of dried or boiled meat with inscriptions that read year 1337. The inscriptions provided the names of 2 individuals associated with the city. When translated, the inscriptions indicate meat dressed for the 3rd Hebsed festival from the Kaha Corral slaughterhouse, made by the butcher Lewis. This translation offers insight into the lives of 2 inhabitants of the ancient city: Lewis, the butcher, and the person who placed the order. Despite the challenges of its time, this provides insight into a bygone era characterized by genuine human connections and community life. Excavations at ancient sites often reveal a treasure trove of historical knowledge, from secrets hidden in buried scrolls to ancient clay tablets favored by Mesopotamian and Babylonian ancestors. Mesopotamia, often considered the cradle of civilization, continues to provide surprising findings that align with the work and claims of scholars such as Graham Hancock. Being the birthplace of civilization, Mesopotamia constantly surprises archaeologists with its advanced knowledge. One of these archaeological sites is located in Gersu, located in present-day south-central Iraq. This city, an important center in the ancient Sumerian civilization of Mesopotamia, has a history dating back more than 4 millennia. Despite challenges, such as early excavation methods causing damage and treasure hunters searching for objects to sell illegally, scientists have made important discoveries at Gersu in the last century. One of the notable finds is the Stele of the Vultures, a monument composed of stone slabs depicting various battles and religious scenes. Additionally, recent excavation efforts have revealed a palace built of mud bricks that is believed to have been the main residence of Ningersu, the deity associated with Gersu. Additionally, more than 200 cuneiform writing tablets with logosyllabic inscriptions have been discovered, providing invaluable administrative records from ancient times. As we explore the fascinating archaeological discoveries of the ancient Egyptians, we cannot overlook the wealth of equally impressive finds that have been unearthed in the vast and mysterious Sahara Desert. As we continue our journey through history and archaeology, we discover that the ancient world continues to reveal its secrets in surprising ways. The Sahara, which covers much of North Africa, including Morocco, is the best-known desert in the world. But how much do you really know about this famous setting? The Sahara is home to a variety of wildlife that has evolved to survive in one of the most difficult environments on Earth. Desert animals include cheetahs, gazelles, ostriches, fennec foxes and lizards, as well as camels and goats. The extremely venomous sand viper and the death scorpion are also other dangerous creatures that make this place their home. Recently, it was announced that researchers have made a surprising discovery in the Sahara Desert that will change everything you previously believed. What have researchers found beneath the eye of the Sahara? The Sahara, the largest hot desert on Earth and the third largest overall, spans approximately 3.6 million square miles, occupying nearly one-third of the African continent. Surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, the Red Sea, the Mediterranean Sea and the Sahel Savanna, the Sahara extends across 10 countries and the Western Sahara. The desert is known for its sand dune fields, but it is also home to other terrain and a diversity of life. The region has revealed ancient artifacts that show a more prosperous history in the past. Archaeological exploration in the Sahara has revealed important discoveries, such as the ruins of the Garamantian citadel in Libya, built by the ancient Garamantian people who relied on underground tunnels for water. Although the Sahara has been the scene of mysteries and disappearances over the centuries, current technological advances have allowed us to reveal more information about its past. The Sahara has also been affected by meteorite impacts over time, leaving craters and generating sheets of green glass. The Camel crater in Egypt and meteorites scattered in the desert are examples of these cosmic collisions. Alien green glass from these impacts has been used in ancient objects, such as a breastplate in Tutankhamun's tomb. Although there is still much to discover in the Sahara, technological advances and interest in its history continue to shed light on this enigmatic desert region. The Sahara was not always a desert, as the boundaries of the sandy areas have changed over millions of years due to climate changes. Scientists are researching the history of the Sahara and have discovered evidence of an ancient river carved into an underwater canyon off the coast of Mauritania. This indicates that the world's largest drainage basin originated in the Sahara. The fluvial sediments and remains of this river support the theory that the Sahara had an aquatic presence in the past. A recent study reveals that in the past, the Sahara was home to enormous marine animals, some of which were giant and terrifying aquatic monsters. This discovery, supported by evidence, shows that the Trans-Sahara Seaway, a prehistoric body of water, flooded areas of West Africa between 150 million years ago. For 2 decades, scientists studied soil and fossils in Mali to better understand its prehistoric environment. They discovered that an ancient warm, shallow body of water was home to 12-meter sea snakes and 1.5-meter catfish, with the largest catfish measuring 160 centimeters. At that time, there were numerous top predators, such as crocodiles and giant snakes, in this prehistoric ecology. This ancient body of water, known as the Saharan Inner Sea, connected regions that are modern-day Algeria and Nigeria. The isolation of this body of water may have reduced the presence of predators and ensured constant resources, allowing the species to spread uncontrollably. This isolated environment may have promoted selection for gigantism in aquatic species, similar to what was observed on terrestrial islands. The Sahara has undergone a significant transformation since those days of aquatic life. In the past, the desert was home to giant creatures, such as Macromosaurus rex, a 30-foot-long crocodile, which is the largest carnivorous dinosaur discovered. This marine crocodile lived in a large lagoon that extended into the Tethys Ocean, where it hunted fish and sea turtles using its enormous head and powerful bite force. It is also possible that it fed on the bodies of other giant animals that lived in that area. Aquatic life forms are being discovered in the Sahara because the desert is so inhospitable that paleontologists can walk freely through eroded places without obstacles. Spinosaurus is the largest known carnivorous dinosaur. It lived about 95 million years ago and was larger than the T-Rex. It had unique adaptations, such as a bony sail on its back, and is considered the only known semi-aquatic dinosaur. Another group of fossils found in Morocco allowed for a more complete study of Spinosaurus, as the bones from the original discovery were destroyed in World War II. Its long, flat legs and high nostrils indicate its adaptation to water. The sail on his back must have been impressive to ancient people who lived near bodies of water. In the Sahara, the largest human burial was found at the Gobros site in Niger. During 2 years of excavation, around 200 skeletons were discovered, revealing 2 periods of occupation separated by more than 1,000 years. Objects found, such as arrowheads and bone jewelry, indicate that these people probably hunted in nearby bodies of water. Although some burials were unique, such as a man sitting on fragments of turtle shell, there is still much we don't know about their lives and deaths. More than 100 million years ago, an explosion in the Sahara gave rise to the enigmatic Eye of the Sahara. This phenomenon formed when molten rock caused limestone to collapse, forming a rock called a breccia. As time passed, erosion completed the process, creating the Eye of the Sahara with its concentric rings. This geological marker stands out in the middle of the sandy desert. The Eye of the Sahara has generated intriguing theories, such as the possibility that it is the site of the legendary Atlantis, a civilization described by Plato. Similarities between the structure of the Eye of the Sahara and epic descriptions of Atlantis have sparked speculation. According to the narrative of Atlantis, this advanced civilization suffered a tragic end due to its arrogance and conflicts with the Athenians. In the midst of wars and natural disasters unleashed by the gods, Atlantis sank into the sea and disappeared forever. These discoveries in the Sahara continue to challenge scientists and remind us that there is still much to learn about the history and geology of this vast desert region. The Eye of the Sahara is an impressive testimony of past geological events and invites us to reflect on the mysteries and legends that still exist in humanity. The Eye of the Sahara, visible from space, is like a large target and began to emerge when the supercontinent Pangaea broke apart. Different types of rocks, such as carbonates and black basalt, are embedded in the eye, similar to the rock formations in Hawaii. Although the origins of the Sahara Eye remain a mystery, its presence in the desert fascinates scientists and explorers alike. Plato used the story of Atlantis as a parable to convey his ideologies, similar to how the movie Avatar warns about racism and corporate greed. Atlantis was described as a land divided into zones of water and land, an arrangement that coincides with the Eye of the Sahara today. The adjacent mountains were considered sacred and symbolized the divine. The rivers and water lines that cross the eye can be seen in satellite photographs. Ancient artifacts such as ship hulls, surfboards, and spears have been found both inside and outside the Rikhat structure, estimated to date to the Atlantean era. Although Solon and Plato were respected for their integrity, the history of Atlantis has been the subject of controversy. Surprisingly, on Wikipedia and other sources, pages related to Atlantis, the Eye, King Atlas, and the god Poseidon are blocked. This raises questions about the omission of this generally accepted belief. Like the city of Troy, which was considered a myth until its discovery, it is necessary to consider more evidence before stating with certainty that the Eye of the Sahara is the site of Atlantis. In 2011, Sean Funk, a heavy equipment operator at the Millennium Mine in northern Alberta, suddenly unearthed stones of a strange color. He stopped his work to take a closer look at his discovery. The material was unusual, speckled with some kind of pattern, but his boss soon realized that there was something special about the stones he had found. What the operator discovered looked like a sleeping dragon. One by one, fragments of fossilized Nodosaurus skin rose to the surface. It was not just any fossilized lizard, but one of the best preserved specimens of Nodosaurus ever found. And it really looks like a sleeping dragon. The dinosaur was so well preserved that it looked as if it had walked the earth just a couple of weeks ago. And this is not a fantasy of mine. That's what paleobiologist Jacob Filter from the University of Bristol said, and he's right. If you do not know that you are looking at the remains of a real dinosaur, you may think that it is a realistic sculpture. Well, the remains of an ancient lizard cannot look like that after tens of millions of years. When the dinosaur was finally excavated, It turned out that this creature was more than 5 meters long and weighed about 1,300 kilograms, and its age was estimated at 110 million years. It is now on display at the Royal Tyrone Paleontological Museum in Canada, but naturally scientists went beyond admiration and amazement at this find. The extraordinary preservation of the shell plates and scales helped paleontologists understand the size and shape of the creature's keratinous protection. It also allowed them to reconstruct its coloration, thanks to the tiny fragments of red pigment found during the excavation. You get the idea, right? Scientists have discovered what color this dinosaur was, apparently dark red, closer to brown on the upper part of the body and lighter on the lower part. Not only the skeleton has been preserved, but even some of the dinosaur's entrails. In fact, the Nodosaurus is so intact that it still weighs 1,100 kilograms, and that is very rare. Most remains are crushed during the fossilization process, and do not always retain their original shape. The Nodosaurus mummy is unique because it has been preserved in 3 dimensions, and we can study the features of its structure in great detail. We can consider this to be the best preserved dinosaur specimen ever found. It could only be rivaled by Sway. If you don't know her, well, it's about time you met her. This is Sway, and she is a Tyrannosaurus with an unusual story. In the summer of 1990, Sue Hendrickson, an American researcher and fossil collector, and a group of workers were exploring the cliffs of western South Dakota naturally searching for fossils. A group of paleontologists discovered an Edmontosaurus skeleton after several days of digging, but had truck problems on the way back. The daughter of one of the paleontologists found small pieces of bones while she was exploring the nearby cliffs, which eventually led to the discovery of a well-preserved Tyrannosaurus skeleton, named in the scientist's honor. This fossil sold for a record over $8 million at auction. Scientists believe that the reason some dinosaurs are well preserved is because of water, such as Nodosaurus and Tyrannosaurus. The Nodosaurus died in or near a river and was washed out to sea, where it became a mummy. The Tyrannosaurus was covered in water and mud after it died, preventing other animals from eating its bones and flesh. The ancients already knew about these ways of preservation, which were used as an analog of a refrigerator. In the past, there was no technology, canning or chemical additives to preserve food, so the ancients had to find inventive ways to do it. Some hunter-gatherers dumped mammoth remains into shallow ponds so that the low temperature and special bacterial content would preserve them. The pieces of meat remained edible until summer. Food was also buried to protect it from sunlight, heat and oxygen that accelerate spoilage. An intriguing way to preserve food was in the swamp. The ancient civilizations of northern Europe put food in swamps to preserve it. Sometimes, the perfect preservation of the remains was due to the terrain, humidity, temperature, and predators. Dinosaur mummy named Dakota was discovered in North Dakota. Dakota lived in a humid environment near a water source in his final moments. The dinosaur's skin did not rot despite being chewed by scavengers. The answer is that small scavengers burrow into the body and make way for liquids and gases to escape, and the skin eventually dries out. Large predators tear off more nutritious pieces of the animal, allowing gases and liquids to escape from the body. The result is a body of skin and bones that slowly dries and deflates, surviving for centuries after being buried under a layer of earth. The bison named Blue Baby was mummified by permafrost after its death 50,000 years ago. Scientists discovered that it had been frozen quickly, preserving its muscle, fat and bone marrow tissue. Despite doubts, Blue Baby neck was cooked and served to guests at a dinner in Alaska in 1984. Dinner participants commented that the taste was delicious and no one was poisoned. A paleontologist was inspired by a well-preserved mammoth found in Siberia in 1901. Mammoth meat is said to have had a pleasant flavor, but it is now known that mammoth fat has a substance called adipocera that makes it unappetizing to most people. Muscles also change over time due to prolonged exposure to low temperatures and low humidity levels, making them less juicy and chewy. Scientists have also drunk ancient water from the places where they work, such as in the Antarctic ice, since they have no other source of fresh water available. The cores are cylindrical columns of ancient ice that when melting release bubbles of compressed gas. A professor made a cup with 40,000-year-old ice. Scientists avoid nuclear test ice zones, but ancient frozen water is pure. In Canada, they discovered underground water that is 2.6 billion years old, very salty and tastes disgusting. Scientists tested to determine its age. An experiment was conducted in which 6 pediatricians swallowed a plastic head from a Lego-like toy to study how long it would take to pass through the human body. The average time was almost 2 days. During a study with a plastic toy, no complications were observed in the digestive tract of the participants, except that one of the pediatricians could not find the head of the toy. However, water can penetrate cracks in rocks and remain trapped in the Earth's crust for many years, creating natural time capsules that are of great interest to scientists. For example, it was discovered that microbes can survive at great depths in isolated pockets of water for tens of millions of years in South African gold mines. The discovery of well-preserved antiquities such as the woolly mammoth found in the Latex Sea can also lead to surprising discoveries, such as the possible recreation of extinct species such as woolly mammoths. Scientists have been debating for more than a decade the possibility of reviving mammoths and returning them to their natural habitat in the Arctic tundra. Now, with new funding announced in 2021, they could achieve this by creating an elephant-mammoth hybrid. The process involves taking an Asian elephant and adding mammoth-specific genes to it to obtain an embryo that is transferred to a surrogate mother or artificial womb. The goal is not only to revive mammoths, but also to preserve endangered Asian elephants. Ancient animals can help stop permafrost thawing by removing trees, compacting soil, and converting landscapes to grasslands. The resurrection of mammoths and their repopulation in the Arctic could help cool the planet. In addition, scientists have other extinct animals such as the wild wolf on their resurrection list. Scientists plan to use the endangered thick-tailed marsupial mouse as a close relative of the extinct marsupial wolf to try to revive the species. However, it is not known exactly how the marsupial wolf behaved since there were no recording devices in its time. Although the description of the wolf's sound might not be useful, fossils preserved in amber are a valuable tool for scientists studying extinct creatures. Amber is a hardened form of plant resin that preserves ancient organisms without decay. Amber fossils contain a wealth of details about ancient creatures, including the veins in the wings of insects and the lenses in the eyes of flies. It is a miraculous way to conserve extinct species. The resin protects trees from damage and turns to amber after millions of years. Only some types of resin can become amber, and not all suitable resin is preserved. The resin must fall on moist, swampy soil to preserve it. If all goes well, the resin is carried downstream and collects on the ocean shore, where it is buried under sediment, and waits millions of years to harden. Then, tectonic activity brings it closer to the surface and it can be found. Finding a dinosaur trapped in amber is unlikely.